between the Nnamdi Kanu of the old and the Nnamdi Kanu of 21st October. The only thing I discerned, I could see, was that he has lost a lot of weight. I think everybody noticed that. So I do believe that the loss of weight has a whole lot to do with the conditions of his detention in Nigeria, which is very restrictive and uncomfortable and very degrading. And I think also it's indicative of what he passed through in Kenya when he was renditioned there in late June 2021.
So apart from the weight loss, nothing again what you see?
Before his rendition, Nnamdi Kanu was receiving treatment for a heart condition called heart murmur. And, of course, he has an extreme form of hypertension. His medical report is a matter for public consumption through the facility of the processes we filed in that regard. He was receiving treatment in Texas, United States, back in February this year for that. And when he entered Kenya sometime in May, he also made contact with a hospital in Kenya to treat these conditions. And these conditions persist. And our thesis, our position is that the DSA's facility is, a poster exemplar of what detention facilities in Nigeria are like in terms of inadequacy of medical facilities. I don't believe that DSA's facility has the competence or the medical competence to take care of his medical condition, which we consider life-threatening.
Okay, now we don't finish for the appearance. Many Nigerians want to know what happened inside the court during the trial. Even doctor people, journalists, were supposed to bring out information. They don't allow some of them enter inside the court. So you think tell us what happened for inside the courtroom before and after Nnamdi Kanu pleaded not guilty?
What happened was that it took a little while before they brought him inside. So when they brought him inside, it wasn't in chains. If you recall, on 29 June 2021, when they presented him subsequent to the rendition, he was in chains. He was in manacles, and that's unconstitutional. You shouldn't be doing that to suspects. Nigerian Constitution says you shouldn't. The Supreme Court of Nigeria said you shouldn't. So they, anyway, on 21st October, they didn't. So he wasn't in manacles. He wasn't in handcuffs. So he walked freely inside the confines of the courtroom, and he received salutations from his counsel and gathered other people who were in the court, and we had opportunity to have photo opportunities with him. We snapped pictures with him, and it was a more relaxed atmosphere from what it was the last time he wasn't presented in court. It wasn't raucous, it wasn't noisy, and only few people were, of course, allowed inside the courtroom, and I believe that had more to do with the COVID protocols. Of course, the prosecution made a presentment of the amended charges. If you recall, they had amended these charges a few days to the hearing, and again, they did another amendment, which I considered more of sua sponte, on the spot. And of course, there was no opportunity that the defense has. I don't think we were given sufficient opportunity to go home and study these charges to see how our client would respond to them. But again, the judge wanted a plea to be taken, and that's exactly what happened. So a plea was taken, and I don't think that has prejudiced the challenges, the constitutional challenges we have to these charges, which will come up on the 10th of November.
Okay, on Friday, the Attorney General of the Federation, the Minister of Defense, to Abubakar Malami, he held press conference on Friday, and me too, I've been there. He read plenty things where Nnamdi Kanu and the IPOB do. Some of the things we talk, he say, in some appeals for Nnamdi Kanu, saying instigate violent attacks for democratic institutions like correctional centers, police stations, INEC offices, and others between October 2020 and June 2021. As Malami talked this thing on Friday, you don't tell your client, Nnamdi Kanu, about this first development.
You have asked me this question now about the press conference that was done by the Attorney General on Friday. It's quite surprising that a day after these hearings, I think it was a day after or 2 days after, the Attorney General saw the occasion to address a press conference, that is diametrically removed from what happened in court. You see, Attorney General should be reminded that, despite his duality of role under Nigerian Constitution, he's also the Attorney General of everybody. His job is not regime protection. His job is to uphold the law and justice is to every Nigerian citizen, and even foreigners who happen to find themselves in Nigeria. What he appears to be saying on Friday is akin to saying that the witch cried at night and the baby died in the morning. Therefore, the witch killed the baby. You see, he read off all these allegations without substance. He never presented any evidence. And we have this particular one concerning the NSAS protest. We had commissions of inquiry across the country, particularly in Lagos. And I think they had one in Imo State as well that I know personally about. And there was nothing from any of these commissions of inquiry that returned an indictment of Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB in the aftermaths of the NSAS protest. So that accusation was made in bad faith, and it's intended to poison the minds of the public and also to prejudice the mind of the court as well. It's a highly prejudicial interview, and we are studying the contents to see whether there's going to be any legal reactions that should come from our side.
Okay, we never finished with the accusation where Malami Nnamdi Kanu said. He also told say on 21st October 2020, your client do online calling radio program or when use Radio Biafra to instigate IPOB members and NSAS.
Wait, listen, I understand the question. You see, this matter is sub judice.
I want to break it down.
No, I can't allow us to go into an excursion of what is before a competent court of law in Nigeria. If the Attorney General doesn't want to keep to the rules of sub judice, this is a matter before the court. If he has evidence that our client was caught up in any wrongdoing or criminality, he should know better than anybody else that the proper forum for presentation of that evidence is a court of law, not calling press conferences. So if the Attorney General is preempting the Nigerian judiciary, if the Attorney General is disrespecting the Federal High Court, I will not play that game and stay here and disrespect the Federal High Court. I will wait for him to come before the court with any evidence that he claims to possess so we can meet him in court toe to toe. If there was any radio program, a respected medium like BBC could have been aware of it more than my humble self. So if the Attorney General monitored any radio program, I think there was something about a radio program that was monitored in Enugu, not in Abuja. And you begin to wonder, what is Nnamdi Kanu doing facing a Federal High Court in Abuja? He should be facing a Federal High Court in Enugu. So there are so many issues here bordering on prosecutorial misconducts of the extreme degree, and these things will be ventilated better within the confines of where we have the privilege of ventilating these things, which is the courtroom. I should not be seen to be subjecting or succumbing to this antics by the Attorney General of subjecting Nnamdi Kanu to a media trial. You said the press conference was on Friday. Today, Saturday. So I'm telling you, we are studying the contents of the press conference to see whether it is necessary for us as lawyers to join issues with him in the media or to wait for him in open court. Well, that brings me to the constitutional action that I brought on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu before the High Court of Abia State. That action, as you all know, is called fundamental rights action. And same Attorney General has filed an application before the High Court of Abia State requesting for extension of time to respond. So why did he now turn around, instead of responding to the suit that I filed in Abia State or filing whatever he has before the High Court in Abuja? Now he turns around to come before the media to be spewing out all these accusations that lack substance and material evidence. So that is the question. The question, again, I'll repeat, is if the Attorney General has something that he believes to be cogent and material, he has a forum where he should present those things. And that forum is not before the Nigerian public, but before the courts of the land, which are now considering the various processes that are ongoing before them.
You were responding to the accusation by the Federal Federation, where he talks, say, Nnamdi Kanu provoke IPOB members and the ESM members to carry out the killings of APC chieftain Ahmed and the husband to late Gigi of NAFDAC, daughter Akunyi, Mr. Chike Akunyi, say now him now instigates IPOB and ESM members to carry out those things. How do you react?
Well, regarding these accusations by the Attorney General that Nnamdi Kanu instigated certain killings, including that of Dr. Akunyi and the APC chieftain and the others, the unrest that we have in Anambra State at this point in time. That's what I think he's referring to. I am here to tell you that we have charges in open court. The Attorney General have filed charges that don't contain these allegations. So I think the best place to address these allegations, or if he has any evidence, is the courtroom before the Federal High Court. Coming to the Nigerian public to begin to adduce new allegations that are different from what is before the court, I think is improper.
Now maybe talk about what's concerning this and the Anambra elections. The elections will happen November 6th. So what do you think about the democratic dispensation of your clients as it relates to the November 6th election for Anambra State?
Well, you see, there are more important issues in Nigeria than elections. Elections can come and go, but those issues will remain. The issues are clear, that a lot of people who are Nigerians are no longer happy being Nigerians. It doesn't make them unpatriotic. It doesn't make them criminal. One of the ways citizens express their unhappiness with the system or with how their country is going is by engaging in agitations. And my clients happen to be engaged in agitation. And that agitation is informed by their right to self-determination, which is not a crime. I don't think criminalizing the demand of a people, of millions of people. You see, this is beyond IPOB. The restiveness in this country is also rampant in the western part of the country. And parts of the north are also restive. I'm not talking about the terrorists in the north, but civil restiveness. So it indicates an overall unhappiness that is coming from vast majority of Nigerians with the way things are, with the way the system is structured. And that is something that does not deserve a bullet. It does not deserve prosecution, which is now turning to be a persecution. What it deserves is dialogue, civil engagement, constructive engagement. That's the only way you get to the position where everybody will be comfortable with an arrangement for a new Nigeria that would ensure equity and social justice for all. If somebody is saying, I want out, I don't want to be a Nigerian anymore, he's not committing any crime. And that is why you see this slew of nations around the world being very understanding of the matter and offering political asylum to members of IPOB. Number one is Britain. You see, if what IPOB is doing is illegal, is criminal, why would a major power like United Kingdom consider that IPOB members are entitled to asylum in UK? You see, the basic requirement for asylum all over the world is guided by this. Anybody that possesses a well-founded fear of persecution, simply because he possesses, he subscribes to a political opinion the government of the day is wishing to suppress by means of punishment of some sort, that qualifies you for protection, for refugee status, for asylum status. IPOB members have been found across the world as a people that possess a legitimate political opinion, which is self-determination, that the government of the day is wishing to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. That is what we are dealing here. It's bigger than any election. And anybody that is asking you for a referendum is conducting himself within the framework of the law. He's not asking for war. You shouldn't face him with war. Referendum is a civil demand, and it had produced very good results in the past. Within the Federation of Nigeria itself, it was a referendum that created the fourth region of Midwest. And outside of it, it was a referendum that they took western part of Cameroon from Nigeria and gave it to Cameroon, and took the former Sadana province of Cameroon and gave it to Nigeria, the present-day Adamawa and parts of Taraba states. So what we are talking about here is not a situation that requires the government to prioritize the levying of violence against the people that are not violent.
Okay, now election matters we talk about. My next question is say, your client Nnamdi Kanu, you know whether he don't give any order, say making members no vote for the upcoming election for Anambra State. You know whether he don't talk say no election will hold for the southeastern region.
I can tell you on good authority that what concerns Nnamdi Kanu at this point in time is this question. The question is that the prosecutor, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has lost her jurisdiction, her authority to try him in court because of the extraordinary rendition. This is what he's confronting right now. Nothing compares at all. That is the most important task at hand, that someone would be subjected to such flagrant violation of international law and the municipal laws of Kenya and Nigeria, and then you think you can subject that person to trial? No, you can't. This is what concerns my client Nnamdi Kanu at this point, and that's what we are dealing with.
So what did the title say? The Anambra State election no concern them at this time?
What I'm trying to say is that the matter of the moment that the Nigerian public should concern itself about is what happened to him. If it's not important, I don't see why a very strong, advanced, powerful nation like United States should be filing something in Nigeria requesting for extradition of Abba Kyari to United States to answer to some criminal allegations. If that's not important, all they needed to have done is to come to Nigeria and rendition him by force. So this is a very important subject that I think Nigerian public should avert its minds to. And the second one I want to point to is the what I have seen as the reluctance of the British government to exact her diplomatic influence over this matter. Nnamdi Kanu is a dual citizen. At the very best, he's a dual citizen. As the very worst, he had publicly renounced his Nigerian citizenship. But let us assume, for purposes of this conversation, that he's a dual citizen of Nigeria and Britain. That does not justify Nigeria renditioning him in this way. Britain wouldn't have renditioned him as well. Britain has a public policy against extraordinary rendition that dates back to 1984, when Nigeria attempted to rendition Omar Diko. It didn't succeed, but it drew countervailing and strong diplomatic responses from Britain. Britain cut diplomatic relations with Nigeria for 2 years. They arrested 17 persons, convicted 4, who served between 6 to 8 years imprisonment in UK, and they were subsequently deported. And the Nigerian aircraft that was going to be the vessel for the rendition, was interdicted in Britain. So that sort of response is what we expect could have occurred in this situation of Nnamdi Kanu. Whether it's going to occur, I don't know. I don't know what they are doing, covertly or otherwise, but we haven't seen any strong actions by the British government towards the direction of protecting the rights of their citizen, Nnamdi Kanu.
The allegations still they say the sponsors of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB, then some day Nigeria, some day abroad. How you go take react to this story where they fly up and down?
Well, talking about sponsors, I think all sponsors should be named. They should start by naming the sponsors of Boko Haram from even before the present government came to power. The sponsors of Boko Haram were well known to government. They said it themselves, even recently, that they know the sponsors of Boko Haram. Why are they not naming them? So let us have a situation where you name sponsors of everything. You don't just make a wide allegation of sponsors without naming names. Name names.
You get people where their business don't scatter, and they don't lose money because of all the katakata where they happen for Southeast region and even Nigeria at large. And within your client, Nnamdi Kanu gets to tell this Nigeria.
You see, what is going on here, which I don't want the media to be hoodwinked into playing a part, is this trial by ordeal. Nnamdi Kanu here, Nnamdi Kanu there. What about ISWAP, Islamic State in West African Peninsula, that now possesses a weapon that threatens civil aviation in this country? There have been media reports recently, credible media reports, that Nigerian security or Nigerian government had to pay certain humongous amount of money to retrieve a projectile or some kind of a missile possessed by the terrorists that could down any civil aircraft in this country, including that of the president. And we're here thinking Nnamdi Kanu is the problem of this country. Nnamdi Kanu is the solution to the problems of this country. I can tell you that of good authority. Anybody that listens to him very well and keeps an open mind will be seeing him spewing solutions, not problems. The problems of this country are bigger than what we are talking about. So making him the poster boy for all the problems of the country is the most unfortunate thing that has happened in recent times. It is trial by ordeal. If you want to solve the problem of this country, you start from the head. The fish rots from the head, and we know where the head of this country lies. Then when you get past that, you go to the real terrorists, Boko Haram, ISWAP, the militants, which the entire world have gathered together and declared the terrorists. How can Nigeria be isolated in her declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and no single nation in the world has fallen in line to do the same thing? It's a very, very topical question that should be put out there. People should think about it. Instead, countries all over the world are doing the opposite. They are saying IPOB is not a terrorist organization. That means Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. So this prioritization of Nnamdi Kanu as a singular problem this nation is facing is one of the pointers to what is structurally wrong with this country, Nigeria, of the present era. It is wrong. It shouldn't happen.
So if you be Nnamdi Kanu, you know they there, but we see you now as Nnamdi Kanu mouthpiece. Waiting you go tell Nigerians we don't suffer one loss or the other. How you go take comfort them?
Where the comfort is given to Nigerians is very simple. Tell your government to listen to voice of reason. That's how he puts it. And that voice of reason is to conduct a referendum. That's what he's been saying all along. Nothing else. And that very position he has taken root, not only in Igbo land, in Southeast. He has supporters, millions of supporters across South. And he's also garnering supporters in middle Nigeria and even up in the north. Nnamdi Kanu is the voice of the downtrodden. Anybody, in fact, he represents, the voice of justice. So if you listen to him and as a government and keep an open mind, what he is saying really is not something that should threaten the state. It's something that in the end will benefit everybody. So it's not something you levy a war of attrition against, whether it's a judicial or prosecutorial war or military war. It's something that you call him to the table and engage him constructively and ask him questions. How do we get to saying yes? He's not a lone voice in the wilderness. He represents the voice of millions of people that cuts across Nigeria.
Nnamdi Kanu dey for DSS and the trial dey go on, yet everything still dey go on as usual. Which people wey dey support Nnamdi Kanu for Nigeria, where dem dey?
It's very
business wey im dey do, wey be say even as im dey for DSS and things still dey go on.
It's a very good question. If by everything that is going on, you mean the civil sit at home, the overwhelming success of the civil sit at home, if that's what you mean by everything that has been going on while he's being detained, that underscores that he's in charge. That underscores his popularity. That underscores his influence and reach. And that underscores the legitimacy of what he demands. He's in incarceration. He's incarcerated. But look at what is going on. People are sitting at home on their own, voluntarily, civilly. And you want to ignore that? And you think you can subdue it by what? The only way you can deal with that is to talk about it.
My last question for you. Still that Thursday, I hear as the supporters will come court after they sing, they happy as everything they go on for court. They still talk say that election, November 6th, say they no go. Why then they talk like that?
Well, them see talk say, me, I they still the talker. The most important things in this country are not being talked about. Why are we married to elections within a system that is so dysfunctional that even your elections are highly questionable? That's what I think Nnamdi Kanu seems to be saying. So it goes beyond the election boycott or this mantra of no elections. He's instead saying there are issues that are more important than elections that need to be addressed first. Why this obsession with the elections within a system that is so sick, so dysfunctional, that when you deal with these issues first, elections will come naturally without any let or hindrance.